The glute bridge is a great lower body exercise for runners because our glutes are one of the major power muscles that moves us forward when we run. As you drive off the ground, powering yourself forwards, the glutes really are one of those key muscles. They activate right at that point and they help drive you forwards, especially if you're running fast or if you're running up a steeper hill. Glutes are really engaged and really active. So by working on your glute bridges, you're able to kind of focus on your ability to activate the glutes and not just let the glutes kind of relax and get tired and maybe use kind of hamstrings or low back to compensate. So you can really work on activating that one specific muscle and you're gonna be able to use that to power up your running stride when you head outside and go do your training. To set up for a glute bridge, all you're gonna need is a mat on the floor. It's a super simple setup. You're gonna lie yourself down. You're gonna make sure that your butt, low back, and shoulders and head are all in contact with the ground. So it's gonna look something like this. And then the next thing you're gonna need to figure out is how far away from your butt your heels are gonna need to be. This really depends on the length of your legs. If you have shorter legs or longer legs, it's gonna vary just a little bit. The big thing you wanna look at is if you go too far this way, when you come up into your glute bridge, you're gonna have to use a lot of hamstrings to maintain that position. If you come too far this way, you're gonna use a lot more quads and a lot less glutes. So you really wanna balance the two of those. So you can kind of play around with it a little bit. I find for most people, when you come up into that top position, if your knees are at about 90 degrees, your feet are gonna be in about the right spot. So you wanna balance that a little bit and then you can kind of play with it over time and get it figured out to figure out where you're gonna get the most activation of your glutes, because we really wanna focus on getting everything here active as much as possible. To do the glute bridge, once we're in this position, all we're gonna do is set ourselves up looking straight up at the ceiling, and I'm gonna think about squeezing with my butt and lifting my hips up and forwards. So I'm coming from this position here, all the way up to that position, and then all the way back down. So again, you wanna focus on relaxing your quads and your hamstrings as much as possible. Most of that effort you want to be coming from your glutes. So again, from here, you're squeezing with those glutes, pushing the hips up, and then lowering yourself back down again. To adjust the difficulty, there's a few different things you can do. So the first one that you can do, the easiest glute bridge is gonna be this position here, lifting up and coming back down. If you want to increase the difficulty, you can lift one leg up, hold it in place here, and then you're gonna bridge up and come back down again. So again, that's basically doubling the amount of work that this leg needs to do because it's not both working at the same time. If you are gonna do it this way, you want this leg to stay fairly stationary. You don't wanna swing it or kind of use it to get yourself up. So that leg is gonna stay fairly stationary. You're lifting up and then coming back down again. And again, if you do that, you would need to do all of your sets on one side, and then you would do all of your sets on the other side. And finally, if you want to take it even a little bit further, make it a little bit more difficult, you can take a kettlebell, you could take a weight plate, something where you can add some weight. You can set that directly on top of your hips here, and then you'd be able to lift it up and lower back down and add some extra weight that way. Like I was saying, the biggest modification that you can make with this exercise is adjusting where your feet go. So again, if you walk too far out this way, you're gonna be using a lot of hamstrings and it's gonna be difficult to activate those glutes. Alternatively, if you walk your feet all the way back here, you're not gonna use quite as much glutes as well. So you wanna just modify it for yourself. Again, depending on how tall or how short you are, it's gonna be just a little bit different. As an alternative to the glute bridge, there's a lot of other glute exercises that you can do. Any of them you could sub in interchangeably. In terms of kind of the most common ones that you'll see, things like donkey kicks will be one of the kind of the most common ones, donkey kicks or bird dog. Or you could also add more weight and you could do something like a weighted hip thrust where you've got a bar sitting across your hips and you're lifting that extra weight as well. But again, the whole goal of this exercise is we're just working on activating the glutes as much as possible, and so any glute exercise can be subbed in for this one.